Oh, bugger.
Faster, faster.
I've run out of money. Whoops. Might have gone a bit overboard on the investment on my freezer racks instead of like thinking about trying to keep my base running. I probably should have been more like, hey, maybe I should try and focus on like upkeep and continuation of business rather than full on. This is a problem I'm guessing a lot of people make in business when they haven't had the training that I clearly haven't had. It's they get a little bit too excited about one particular aspect of the business. Like they always say, football managers always have a tendency. I know, I'm fully aware. You don't have to interrupt me. Have a tendency to kind of overbuy strikers or attacking players because that's what it's like. Well, I can always do with more attacking prowess, and it's like, well, sometimes that isn't always what the business needs, and that's definitely the trap that I've fallen into. I've planned on killing far too many people than I can accommodate, really, and well, to be honest, I'm not really. I just kind of thought, well, basically I was building the toilets, I was building the facilities, and I was thinking, well, there's going to be a lot, as well as being a lot of shit from the minions that I am hiring and murdering, there's going to be a lot of dead bodies from the guys that I'm going to inevitably end up killing without specifically having any plans in place whatsoever. So I've kind of let myself down in that aspect, but oh no, I'll highlight this one because that one's lit. Yeah, the tags are like just telling you what's happening, and as the evil genius you can like prioritize it. It's like if there's like a labour shortage or like money shortage, you can be like, no, you need to be doing this right now because this is the most important thing to be doing. So I'm going to try and get them to build one power thing, which might be enough, hopefully. If I can get them to, my doors might come back on, and I'll be doing well in that respect. I don't think I'm actually being invaded at all by anyone. There was those like random inspectors that turned up that I murdered for like looking at my money funny, which is I am pretty much a man very much in love with and kind of pseudo married to his wealth, which is diminishing, so I'm gonna have to try and do something about that in a minute. And because they looked at it funny, that was deemed a large enough insult to set my samurai on them, who doesn't really need to be told twice to cut things in half, because presumably if you're going to put all that effort into like looking like a samurai, I was going to say badass, but I'm not entirely convinced that this garb screams badass. It's a bit more like what's it called, Shaolin monk, but with a like stabby edge, namely this bit, the swordy bit. If you're going to put all that effort into looking like a samurai and carrying around a big massive sword, you're going to be pretty chuffed anytime anyone's like, hey, I've got a job for you and that. It's like, if you're ever like a radio man in the army, or one of the firemen that has to carry around one of those big old fire fighting equipment things. This showing the depth of my knowledge right now, Simon. But yeah, you're going to be like, oh, that's handy that like, but basically you'll just be thankful and like happy at any time anyone's like, hey, that big massive thing that you have to lug around all the time, we've got a use for it, so you're not entirely frivolous and like surplus to requirements. We do actually need you to be doing all that manual labour that you are. You feel vindicated, you feel validated, and that's good for morale. So evil as I may be, I am definitely in the mood of trying to keep my minions happy, which is like, there's like a loyalty stat here. What I just said literally bears nothing on that, and I'm just kind of bullshitting for bullshitting's sake, but that is quite important, and sometimes that will diminish. Like if guys carry around too many dead bodies and don't have any like things to make them happy, then they might be a bit like, oh, literally screw you guys, I'm going home, and they'll leave. So you don't need to try and keep that up nice and high. Intelligence is just like, people get drained if they're doing too many like intellectual activities as opposed to physical ones, and then they kind of go into a bit of a stupor, which is like functionally exactly the same as running out of endurance, and it's the same with attention, although that's more about trying to avoid traps than necessarily being exactly the same as the smarts stat. But there are different things that you can use to both raise and diminish those values, and we'll get into those when it comes to when the time comes, which I hope you're all very excited about. So what I've just done here a few minutes ago, completely without saying anything, is I've gone to the world, like, what's it called? I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like the world map thing, and you can be like, hey, click on specific bits of the world and be like, yo, dudes, I need you to go here and do either hide, which I probably shouldn't get into first. You can either steal or plot, which stealing gets you money, which I'm in dire need of. Like, I've got 3.4 grand, which I think technically I have more money than that in real life, so I've done not the greatest of jobs when it comes to like trying to keep cash flow high, considering I started about 15-20 minutes ago with 250,000, and that's already gone down to almost nothing, like, you know, comparatively. I'm not gonna laugh at 3 grand. That's not too bad a sum of money to be, you know, sitting on top of. But unfortunately, I am trying to take over the world, and I don't know if you guys know what like kind of turnover rates for like big corporations are, like Apple and whatnot, but I'm guessing it's going to be considerably more like the kind of output, the costs of like generally just running things are going to be a lot higher than $3,000 or even $4,000, which is what's reached at the moment. So yeah, that money is going to be slowly coming in now from the 10 random construction workers I've assigned to like the New York and Florida type East Coast. We'll call it the East Coast. I'm sure that'll catch on eventually. We'll call it the East Coast of America. Yeah, we're just hanging out there, like in general, just kind of nicking money from wherever they can, and because that's like one of the best places to nick money from. There's different values of like there's this top, everything's hidden at the moment because I've got no control panels active at the moment, but there's 2 values. There's a $, which is like how much you can get from nicking it, from nicking money from it, and then there's the like security symbol, which is like how often the enemy will start looking for your minions, and if they do that, then you need to put them into the hiding thing in order to stop them from getting like murdered by like, you know, rogue FBI agents and whatnot. I'm thinking like I've gone full like Prison Break at this point, and there's just going to be like, if I hang out in America, eventually there's going to be some kind of, you know, stereotype cop show, not following the rules but getting results type guy that's going to be coming after my minions. And I don't know if you guys watch those shows, but like 99% of the time it's the former that win. It's the policemen's that win those fights, so I need to try to stay away from them. If they come to me, however, I can, you know, I've got a samurai on my side. I can set him on them. But even he, though he can be sent to the world, like take over map place thing to do stuff for you in that front, he's a lot more useful here, like just being security man. And I have a maid for no reason has come to my island, and I don't know if I've put adverts out or if this has been, she's like she was coming here from before I ever showed up, and she's like, oh, what's this? I wonder if this is some kind of weird tourist facility. Apparently she's like unaware, which is I suppose is a good thing, of my like nefarious you know, undercurrents, because she's willfully just wandering right through my powerless base at the moment, not giving a fuck, and that's kind of handy for me because I can use her to train my minions. If I build an armory at some point, which I'm going to do now, I guess, I'll put it, where would I put it? I'll put it here. I can build an armory, and I can put a holding cell in there, and I can hold her, which is fun in its own way. She seems to be hanging out in a thing full of like dead bodies, and she doesn't really care. It's like, oh look, there's body bag shaped things up on this meat rack. Oh, it must just be meat. So like, I'm happy that she seems to be happy about this, about her kind of, you know, decision making in general. Number 1, probably she shouldn't have come here. Number 2, she probably shouldn't have gone in my base. Number 3, she probably shouldn't have gone this far and looked at my dead body collection. And number 5, she probably shouldn't have waited until my power came back on before trying to leave, because now all my doors are active and she's not going to be able to escape in any way unless she figures out how to pick a lock, and unless she uses a very specific type of maid. Not that I'm saying that there's a type of maid that you can advertise for. Like, if you look into the want ads, it's not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm particularly good at picking locks, if that's the kind of thing that you need. Hey, how come the door opened? What the fuck? It's not supposed to open! That doesn't make any sense! I am livid! I am absolutely livid! I was like, oh yeah, she's fucked now, and she's just nonchalantly wandering through my base, even though there's fucking doors that are supposed to... This means only my minions and henchmen can use the door, and she is neither of those things. I've not given her any money, I've not given her any license, but she's full on just wandering through, not giving a shit, and it's... I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of undermined my operations in terms of I'm gonna be trying to take over the world and killing people left, right, and centre. This bitch has wandered through with training only in how to fucking clean floors and scrub shit out of toilets, and she's made a blinding fool out of me and all of my minions, you know, either here or overseas. And I'm going to need to sick my samurai on her to use his, you know, to use the blunt end of his samurai sword to knock her the fuck out, so I can get my vengeance, because I'm not satisfied, you know, hulky biceps though she may have, it's not good enough. I shouldn't be being, I shouldn't be being undermined so easily by untrained non-military personnel. When I have you know, designs on trying to take over literally everything. So I'm gonna build some armory thing. I'm gonna build some of those, and I'm gonna enact my vengeance, my dirty, horrific, and also slightly hilarious vengeance. That's what my plan is for the moment. I can't remember what I was talking about beforehand. I think I was talking about all the mistakes that she'd made before I realised that in fact I was the one that had made all the mistakes. But yeah, there's some fun things that you can do in here when the time comes. Once the holding cell's up and I've got, you know, my prime enemy number one is once she's been kept under lock and key, because apparently she can't be trusted in any way. Yeah, I'm gonna do horrific things to her. I believe I was talking about her ability to pick locks. That's what I was getting into before I got sidetracked by, you know, unbridled and unequalled rage. Yeah, I don't think there's any point where you can look into a newspaper and just say, like, you know, for more wantads, this time not so romantic. Well, not that I'm trying to say that having massive legs is a particularly romantic statement. I don't think you'll see that in many rom-coms. If, you know, like, random to the bit, you know, looking at the whatever the fucking film it's called, when they're like the final scene where, you know, the star-crossed lovers finally do get it together and they're like, oh, it's okay, you have me at low. There's not going to be some kind of... my point is that I don't think there's ever going to be a film where one of the lines towards the end of the film is, oh, you had me at, I think I've got uncharacteristically large legs for my size. I don't think that's ever going to be a thing. And anyway, yeah, maids normally... See, she's woken up now and still doesn't give a fuck. She's like... Normally when you fuck up civilians, they're like, oh, I'm scared, and they start running around screaming. This bitch is just like, nope, it's fine. It's fine, it's absolutely fine, I don't care. She's just shrugging off being punched by, whatever this gentleman's name is, Stefan Nakamura. No relation to the, you know, Hero's character, I'm guessing. And, yeah, there's probably not a maid that would advertise her talent specifically as a maid who specialises in lockpicking. And even if she did, that's probably the kind of thing you would want to hide from prospective employers, because yeah, it's probably the kind of thing you want to hide from prospective employers, because it's not really good for business. Because if you are going to be the type that's going to be good at picking locks, you're most likely not going to actually be you're most likely not going to actually be wanting to tell anyone about that. You're probably going to want to keep that to yourself so that you can use your lock-picking abilities to get places that you shouldn't be whilst, you know, under cover of working at this nice place, and using it to nick things. So maybe she's more nefarious than I first realised, in which case this is a kind of social justice that I'm enacting at the moment. If anyone ever had a maid that has stolen things from them, or they think that a maid has stolen things from them, then don't worry, because I am the champion of the people now. This isn't evil genius anymore. This is clearly slightly inept, you know, champion of the people, because this is social justice right here. I'm saying this maid has done wrong by, I'm sure, many men and women over her career, because I'm guessing it's been quite a storied career based on her, like, what's it called? based on her character skin, she looks quite old. So I'm guessing she's stolen many a thing over her years and used that to supplement her income in the worst kind of ways. I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to imply drugs. I'm going to imply alcohol. I'm going to imply illicit affairs. Just look at her. She's. Oh, hang on. That's the wrong person. Yeah, I know. I'm fully aware. So now I've taken the bitch down for, I believe, a third time, and yeah, in no uncertain terms as she had this coming to her, I'm gonna claim. That's what I'm gonna put out. First I'm gonna build some tannoys, and then I'm gonna put out in the tannoys to let the men know. We'll get on to the evil stuff first, but I've got a serious problem with maids in general because they have a tendency to steal. I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with my own avatar's point of view, but that's the way he's putting a spin on it, and he's going to use it to improve the morale of his men that may have had slightly more affluent upbringings and had maids and had to suffer the suspicion of them being the ones that might be stealing things from their own parents. And they will probably agree with me that, in fact, yes, maids are bitches and do have it coming. So I'm going to use that to start to build a cult of personality around myself. I'm going to be Kim Jong, Kim Jong Simon, Kim Jong Tangent, and I'm gonna start. I'm gonna strike a pose, and I'm gonna endeavour to garner the worship of as many of my own minions as possible. Because if there's one way to supplement loyalty, it's literal worship. If I try and portray myself as either some kind of pseudo champion of the people, or champion of the people, or pseudo god figure, I do all the things that you want to do but can't, and I do them with a 100% success rate. I'll have to doctor maybe some of the surveillance footage that I might have, or even this own let's play, to try and hide the bit where the random woman with no training managed to escape my entire base, despite the fact that it has doors that aren't supposed to be able to be gotten through. I'm gonna, and I can use this as a kind of, look, this woman has gotten away with it for far too long, and because of that, I need to do what I'm gonna need to do. I'm standing here at the moment in the control room to try and supplement. I see, if you notice, I have an aura around me at the moment. I'm trying to use that to supplement my own minions' stats, because anyone standing within the aura gets a constant loyalty and attention boost, and attention, maybe not loyalty, constantly diminish when they're working at these stations here. So I'm going to try and keep my dude here, even though I really want to try and emphasize the need to hang on, if I shut this down for now, because I'm not really in need of this. All this is for showing me where the enemy is, I think, and I don't think at this current stage in the game they actually show up. They kind of give you the courtesy of just no, steal everything you want, that's fine. Wait till level 2 and then we'll start trying to fuck you up. I just realised I've not got any fraps running, oh for fuck's sake. Probably filled up my hard drive yet again, hang on.